Well, thank you, Sam. You know, it only takes a few seconds to form a first impression of somebody, and in that time you can figure out a lot about them, and often that first impression is the hardest to shake, especially if you make a bad one. So, of course, one of the most daunting first impressions there is happens in the job interview. Here today is Teca Cameron, fashion stylist and blogger, with some tips on how you can show you've got the right stuff inside and out. Thank you so much for coming, Teca.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. So, we're talking about change today, and I want to know, what is the best way that you can make a really good first impression in a job interview?
Well, the first thing is you need to come prepared. First of all, you have to understand what type of industry you are interviewing for. Typically, if you get to the interview, you probably have a good idea, but understand the nuances of that particular industry. Make sure that you're dressed appropriately for that environment, and also make sure that you're appropriately groomed. A lot of times, that is often an area that's overlooked, and it can cost you majorly, okay? In addition to your appearance, there's also the behavior and the communication. So you want to make sure you're putting on your best show. So you're pleasant, you have a nice smile, etc. But most importantly, what you want to take into consideration is when you're going in for a job interview, you want to be as conservative as possible. I get that, you know, a lot of people want to showcase their personality. This is not the time to be extremely creative. You want to be as conservative as possible, but yet still have the ability to show who you are.
So today we have a brief fashion show with some examples of what might be considered work casual or professional, and I want to hear your take on what you think of these and whether or not they are actually appropriate for the workplace.
Okay.
So first we have Erin here today. Now Erin is wearing a vest and shirt combination. Where would this be appropriate to wear?
As I said, actually, with this particular outfit, it would be most appropriate in a very casual setting. If your employer is, or if you're employed in a creative field or in retail, etc., or in an environment where the workplace policy is very relaxed, then this might be appropriate. However, you would not generally find this to be an appropriate outfit in a very professional setting or a corporate setting.
Now, speaking of unprofessional, jeans, everybody's a big fan of jeans. Are they okay to wear in the workplace?
This is where there's, you know, kind of that gray line where people tend to not really understand how to wear business casual. What I typically say is if it's in your workplace policy, then you can definitely do it. There are industries such as finance and banking, et cetera, where there are no casual Fridays and you cannot wear it. However, there are industries such as government or, you know, any other creative field where you have the opportunity to wear denim, but what I usually say is wear a relaxed fit, something that does not necessarily show off your frame and is more of a dark wash as opposed to a lighter wash. And if you are going to wear denim, wear it with something that is more professional, such as a dress shirt or, you know, a tie or a blazer, just to make the look a bit more professional. But as it stands, this look is not necessarily considered to be professional business casual.
Yeah. Great. Well, thank you so much, Erin.
Thank you, Erin.
And next we have Chantal, who has a lovely trouser here today. Now, where would this be appropriate to wear? Something that's very colorful like that.
Okay, I keep saying as I said, my apologies. Creative industries allow you a lot more flexibility. The higher the level of professionalism or the more formal the position, the less creativity that you have in your job. Creativity means also your ability to use colors. You can be strategic in how you use colors, but if you are in a professional setting, then you want to minimize the amounts of color that you use, or you know, in this particular case, in a trouser, it's probably a bit loud. Not necessarily. I think it's just the style and the color in and of itself that makes it a bit loud for a very professional or corporate setting.
They're
in
so
a creative,
cute, though.
Absolutely, it's beautiful. Like, I mean, it's a very trendy look, but you have to be careful because once again, it's very form-fitting. If you notice, it's actually hugging her frame. So if you are in a creative industry that gives you flexibility, certainly you can, you know, you have more flexibility to play. But if you are in corporate, then you want to be a little bit more relaxed and a bit more conservative.
Great. Thank you so much, Chantal. And now we have Alyssa. Now, let me know what you think of this. Is this something that you can wear to a job interview?
Not necessarily. And I say that because it always depends on the circumstance, okay? There are some industries that, like if you're going to a job for retail, okay, some retailers would say that's okay. But what I say is if you're going to an interview, keep it conservative. This is a look that's very, you know, creative. It's very busy. It's the actual skirt, it's very loose fitting, it's very free flowing. This is not something that you would generally see in an interview. If you're going to go for an interview, I say always whenever you're in doubt, opt for wearing a jacket or a blazer and wearing a blouse underneath, a very nice creative. If you want to get creative, you can get creative in your blouse and add details there. But with this particular outfit, I would not necessarily say it's appropriate for an interview.
Okay. Well, thank you so much, Alyssa. I still think you look cute.
Absolutely.
And now we have something that's a little bit more what you're looking for, probably. This is Lisa wearing something much more professional, I'd say.
Absolutely, yes. It is more conservative. It is very much a professional look, okay? So if you are working in a field such as, banking, finance, if you're in supervision, if you're in a leadership position, this is an appropriate look. If you're going to be meeting with clients on a day-to-day basis, this is an appropriate look. For job interviews, this is an appropriate look, okay? So.
Now, when you're actually buying a blazer, what sort of details should you be looking for?
Well, definitely for women, you want to make sure that your blazers are actually fitting your frame, okay? You don't want anything that's going to be boxy or make you look like literally a cereal box. So you want to find something that actually gives you a bit of definition, but is not too form-fitting that it becomes, unprofessional, okay? So what I usually say for women, depending on the body type, you want to look for jackets that have darting in it. So darting is actually the lines in the seam of the jacket.
Yeah.
You also, in this particular case, she's got slant pockets on the jacket. This is actually very beautiful and trendy look. So certainly that would be something that you would want to consider. But for most women, in order for a jacket to look really well, opt for ones that have either princess seams or that have darting, because that will add a bit more definition to your figure.
So a bit more detail there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you so much, Lisa. And now we have Erin again, who's, I think, in a really charming outfit. Come on out.
Hey, Erin.
So this is a fair bit different from what he was wearing before. Same shirt, but he's added a few new things here in the sweater and the pants. Is this an improvement from what he had before?
Certainly. In terms of business casual, it is an improvement. I mean, the throwing in the tie, he's wearing a denim shirt, which is always going to be casual, okay? And then he's got a sweater on top. With adding the tie, it just takes it up a notch. But yes, it is certainly better than the look that he had before. The shoes, I'm not necessarily a fan of for a business setting. Sorry, Erin. But the outfit does, it's moving closer to the look that you want to get for a business casual setting.
So if he actually wanted to step it up another notch and be ready for the job interview, what does he need from this point?
Oh, for a job interview?
Yeah.
That's completely different, okay? Like for a job interview, I would not recommend that you wear denim, like I said, unless you're in a creative field, because it all depends on who, what, where, and when.
Yeah.
Okay, so if you're interviewed, depending on your industry, if you're in a creative field and you can get away with that, you can pull it off, but I would say just to err on the side of caution, opt for a dress shirt instead.
Yeah.
To be safe.
So you got to change up your shirt then, Erin, if you want that job. You're like, well, thank you so much, Erin. And now we have Melissa, our producer in today. Now, is this appropriate in the workplace?
I would say no.
No. Even the lace,
no.
Is lace
Absolutely
ever
not.
appropriate at the workplace?
I would say, unless it's concealed with a jacket, it's not appropriate, okay? You can wear it as a detail underneath something that is more conservative and covers the body, but in this particular case, there's a fair bit of her figure that's being shown, so I would say no. Leggings, if you are going to wear leggings, what I generally recommend is that you do cover your rear, okay? So in this case, she's very exposed, so I would suggest that this not be something that you would wear in the work environment.
Well, thank you, Melissa, for coming out. So we've seen the models today. I want to ask you, what are some of the big faux pas that people make when they're dressing for the workplace?
Okay. Business casual, that is the biggest area where people trip up. And it's easy too, because over time, like at least for the past 2 decades, people have environments have tended to be more relaxed. So, I generally see, or I have seen in the past, individuals that come to work in flannels, in club wear, in things that are just too flashy, clothing that is blingy and has way too much of a statement. So just err on the side of caution and be a bit more conservative when you're in business casual.
So maybe people are getting a little bit too fun with their clothing, a little bit too excited maybe?
It's not even fun, it's being a little bit too casual. It's very casual. There's a difference between business casual and actual casual. If you feel that you can wear this outfit when you're running errands or you're performing chores or you're going to the club, then it's probably not appropriate for work.
Well, thank you so much, Teca.
You're
so last thing to leave you with would be, if you're looking to get that job, make sure that you really sharpen up, get yourself a nice dress shirt and a jacket instead of the denim and jeans probably. And now that we all look so sharp, I'm going to send you over to our lovely guide Samantha Vanderbeek, who has an inside look at this year's Juno nominees.